Oh, how things could have been different. Today we are going over an entirely new conversation in regards to the best prospect the Montreal Canadiens have in their system. You know him, you love him, he's been scoring playoff goals as noted by Lane Hutson and Samuel Montembeault. It is Ivan Demidov. And yes, that Hutson and Montembeault thing is legit. They were put on video talking about Ivan Demidov during their Madden stream. It was a really interesting commentary from Hutson and Montembeault. They did say that Ivan Demidov looks really good, but ultimately, Demidov scoring goals in the KHL playoffs, his team winning some, losing even more, and actually being down in their series 3-1 against Dynamo Moscow right now. That's besides the point of this video. Because what I wanted to do was head over to an article on TVA Sports that talks about just how close Ivan Demidov was to not even being taken by the Habs in the first place. Not because Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton didn't want anything to do with this guy, but because there was, in particular, one team ahead of Montreal that almost made the decision instead. You know from the title, we are talking about the Anaheim Ducks, because this article on TVA Sports, published on March 26th, so about a week ago, talks about how the Ducks were very hesitant to take Ivan Demidov. Now, the title of that article does kind of say the contrary. It's like, hey, wait a minute, what are you talking about? He was almost a Duck. It just says here in the article they were hesitant to take him. Yeah, I know, but let's read the actual piece and see the commentary made from Martin Madden Jr., Director of Amateur Scouting for the Anaheim Ducks. Because he went out there and spoke about the 2024 NHL Draft and the Anaheim Ducks' plan heading into it. For those who needed to know, Anaheim ended up taking themselves a very highly touted prospect in the top 3 of the draft, Beckett Sennecke of the OHL's Oshawa Generals. I'm not gonna lie, good on him for going top 3 in the NHL Draft, but his projection was a lot lower than that. Some outlets even had Sennecke as down there as number 16. Button had him at 11, McKenzie at 11, McKean's at 14. The highest ranking here was Elite Prospects, who had him number 9. So the fact that he went 3rd overall was seen as a pretty big deal back in the draft floor, and we did make a response video to that draft pick when it did happen. Beckett Sennecke, though, all things considered, is a pretty good prospect. He's a big dude, strong power forward guy who's got some really good skill and puck handling ability. And in the OHL, he's done his thing. He's got 86 points in 56 games this year. Good prospect, right? But he was taken 3rd overall, in front of some very notable names like Ivan Demidov, like Cayden Lindstrom, like Iginla. However, if we head back over to this TVA Sports article, that in which the link is going to be in the description, you'll find what Martin Madden Jr. says about his staff settling on Beckett Sennecke. It was a surprise to see him taken so early, but the Ducks saw something in him. We were going with a forward, someone who could play on the first 2 lines and score goals, who would drive the game. Ivan Demidov is one, Beckett Sennecke is another, and there was another guy in the mix that I won't name, explained the man who was also an assistant to GM Wednesday in an interview on the JIC show. It's safe to assume the names of Iginla, Berkly, Catton, Jett, Luchanko, and Konsta Helenius, who all found buyers in the top 15, were also in Madden's notebook. The Montreal Canadiens management is rubbing their hands together at Demidov's immense potential. The 19-year-old Russian had an excellent season in the KHL and is expected to make the jump to North America next fall. There is no question of having any regrets on the part of the Quebec leader, who explained what encouraged him to choose Sennecke. At 3rd overall, you've done your homework, not just on the ice but off it as well. You want to have a character type that fits the mold of what you want to develop and complements what you already have. Those are some of the considerations that made us lean towards Beckett, who will probably take a little longer to arrive than Demidov. We'll wait for him, and he'll make an impact when he is with us, Madden assured. Now that is really interesting. He goes out there and essentially says, yeah, Beckett Sennecke was a guy that we really liked personally. Not necessarily because of strictly the puck skills and the goal scoring and the power forward-like qualities. Obviously, his on-ice play is going to be a big factor, but they liked the guy, Beckett Sennecke. And it seems from this description that they liked him so much that they ended up taking him over some of the other guys that may have been more available sooner for their NHL club, like an Ivan Demidov, whom it is that the Ducks were also contemplating taking in the 3rd overall spot via this interview. I kind of think about it like the Oscars. Okay, if you have 2 people nominated for one award, or 2 people you're trying to decide who to pick, if it's really, really close, that's when you start to get into some subjective opinions. Oh, Mikey Madison versus Demi Moore. One's relatively new in the industry and the other has been an icon in decades past. If the performances for the substance and Anora are equal in your minds, that's when you start to let some subjectivity that's unrelated to the actual performance steer your opinion another way. Who has the better narrative? Who would deserve it more? Whose story is more easy to cheer for in this respect? For Beckett Sennecke and Ivan Demidov, I'm getting similar vibes here. Of course, not necessarily in an acting capacity. That's just kind of an example from earlier this year. But if the Anaheim Ducks particularly liked both Demidov and Sennecke to the point that they were willing to take either of them 3rd overall, if it just boiled down to Beckett Sennecke being a guy that they like more, even though Demidov has that potential to make an impact sooner than Sennecke, then they're just going to choose the guy they like more. And also, I think it has to be noted that Anaheim really likes these kinds of guys. Big, solid, strong dudes, guys who can play both ends of the ice, north-south hockey, Mason McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Isaac Lundstrom, Beckett Sennecke. They're all in that same mold. It's a different mold than what you see out of Trevor Zegras and Ivan Demidov types, who are a little bit smaller, a little bit more finesse. They kind of work the ways of the game with their brain more so than their physical tools. We're seeing some guys on the Anaheim Ducks right now display some skill, like the Radko Gudashes and the Jacob Trubas and the Alex Killorns. You know, these guys fit that sort of a bill. They're bigger, they're more physical. That's what Anaheim and Pat Verbeek like. So, on top of the personality of Beckett Sennecke being more, let's just say, aligned with what it is that they think, Beckett also has that prime frame to play that type of an Anaheim style. Even though Ivan Demidov is a guy that the Ducks guy is admitting is probably going to make a sooner impact at the NHL level, and by all accounts could very well be a higher scoring player than Sennecke. Maybe even every single year. It's a possibility for how talented Ivan Demidov is. But ultimately, learning that the Anaheim Ducks were this close to taking Demidov instead, how they were thinking about Sennecke and Demidov, plus another dude, I'm going to guess Cayden Lindstrom because he's a big guy as well. But, of course, that's just a very uneducated guess here. Ultimately, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How would you have felt if Ivan Demidov was taken by Anaheim instead? How well do you think he would have been as a Ducks prospect? Do you think it would have been purgatory for him, considering the situation with Trevor Zegras and how his career has been going? It may have been the same if Ivan Demidov was sent over there instead, just saying. And Montreal would have had to settle for a Iginla or Cayden Lindstrom or somebody else like that, or maybe they would have taken Beckett Sennecke themselves. Who really knows? There would have been a lot of different timelines had that decision at 3rd overall just been a tad off. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all this conversation about Demidov to the Ducks almost happening? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.